the small ship fell through the purple sky like a dying star. Inside, Tejo held onto his seat as alarms screamed around him. The control panel showed nothing but red lights and error messages. He had been traveling through a wormhole when something went wrong. Now his ship was breaking apart, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The ship hit the ground hard. Metal scraped against rocks and dirt. Trees snapped like tiny sticks as the vessel carved a deep path through the forest. When everything finally stopped moving, Tejo's head felt heavy. Blood ran down from a cut on his forehead. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was the strange purple color of the sky through his cracked window. Hours later, Ji-woo stood at the edge of the crash site with her patrol team. She had never seen anything like this before. The metal of the strange ship was different from anything on their planet. It was still hot, steam rising from the broken parts. "Commander, should we call for more help?" asked one of her team members. Ji-woo touched the side of the ship carefully. It was real. This was not a dream. "Yes, and contact the research outpost. Tell HFY to come here immediately." Her team spread out, checking the area for danger. Yuna, the youngest member of the patrol, climbed up to look inside the ship through a broken window. She gasped and almost fell backward. "Commander, there's someone inside." Ji-woo climbed up quickly. Through the window, she could see a figure slumped in the pilot's seat. It was wearing some kind of uniform she had never seen before. The face was covered in blood, but the chest was moving. The person was alive. "Get the medical kit. We need to get this pilot out now," Ji-woo ordered. It took 20 minutes to cut through the damaged door. When they finally pulled the pilot out, Ji-woo noticed something strange. The body felt heavier than it should be. The shoulders were broader. The face had different features. Yuna used the medical scanner on the unconscious pilot. She stared at the results, then scanned again and again. "Commander, this doesn't make sense. The scanner says this person is... I don't know what this means. The biological readings are wrong." Ji-woo took the scanner and looked at it herself. Her eyes went wide. The scanner showed a genetic pattern that should not exist. It showed 2 different types of chromosomes that their species only had one of. It showed hormone levels that were completely foreign. "Take this pilot to the medical facility immediately. And seal this crash site. Nobody else comes here until I say so." The medical facility at the research outpost was small but had the best equipment in the region. HFY, the chief scientist, was already waiting when they arrived. She was known for her calm mind and brilliant research, but even she looked shocked when she saw the scan results. "This is impossible," HFY said quietly. "These readings suggest a completely different biological system. Look at this muscle density, the bone structure, the hormonal makeup. I've never seen anything like this in 3,000 years of medical records." "Can you help this person?" Ji-woo asked. "Yes, the injuries are not too serious. But Ji-woo, I need you to understand what we might have here. According to these scans, this being is similar to the ancient texts, the ones that talk about the dual-form species that existed before the Great Plague." Ji-woo felt her heart beat faster. Everyone knew the old stories. Long ago, their people had 2 forms, but one form died out from a terrible disease. Now only females existed. They had learned to create new life through cloning technology. The other form, the males, were nothing but ancient history. Most people thought they were just myths. "Are you saying this pilot is a male?" Ji-woo whispered. "I'm saying this pilot has biological characteristics that match the ancient descriptions perfectly. If the old texts are true, then yes, this is a male. But not of our species. This is something else entirely." They moved the pilot to a private room. HFY cleaned the wounds and used their medical technology to heal the injuries. Bomi, another scientist, came to help. She kept staring at the unconscious stranger with wide eyes. "I've studied ancient biology my whole life," Bomi said. "I never thought I would see a male with my own eyes. Do you think there are more of them where this one came from?" "Look at the uniform," HFY pointed. "This person is a soldier. That ship was military. There must be others." Yuna stood guard outside the room. She couldn't stop thinking about what this meant. Her whole life, she had only known females. Everyone she had ever met was female. The idea of males was something from old books and children's stories. Now one was lying in the room behind her, real and breathing. On the third day, Taeho woke up. His head hurt. His body felt sore. The light was too bright. He tried to sit up, but gentle hands pushed him back down. Please don't move too fast. You were injured, a voice said. The words came through some kind of translator device. The language was foreign, but he could understand it. Taeho opened his eyes fully. 3 faces looked down at him. They were humanoid but clearly not human. Their skin had a slight blue tint. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, and they were all female. He looked around the room. Medical equipment surrounded his bed. Everything looked advanced but different from Earth technology. Through a window, he could see the purple sky. Where am I? Taeho asked. His voice was rough from not speaking for days. You're on Valoria 7, Jiwoo answered. Your ship crashed in our forest. We found you and brought you here. I am Jiwoo, patrol commander. This is Haewon, our chief scientist, and Bomi, medical researcher. Taeho tried to process this information. He had no idea where Valoria 7 was. The wormhole must have thrown him far off course. Very far. Thank you for saving me, he said. I'm Taeho, combat engineer of Earth's expeditionary fleet. The 3 women looked at each other with strange expressions. Haewon stepped closer, holding her medical scanner. Taeho from Earth. We need to ask you something important. Our scans show that you are biologically different from us. Your genetic structure is unlike anything we've seen. Are you what the ancient texts call a male? Taeho blinked in confusion. Yes, I'm male. Is that strange? The room went completely silent. The 3 women stared at him like he had just said something shocking. Finally, Jiwoo spoke, her voice shaking slightly. Taeho. On our world, males don't exist. They haven't existed for 3,000 years. You are the first male any of us have ever seen. You might be the first male any living person in our entire civilization has ever seen. Taeho felt his mind go blank. An entire planet with no males? That was impossible. Wasn't it? I don't understand, he said slowly. How does your species continue without males? Cloning technology, Bomi explained. We reproduce through advanced genetic science. We have done so for millennia. Taeho lay back on the bed, overwhelmed. He was stuck on an alien planet where half the population didn't exist. He had no way to contact his ship, and judging by the looks on their faces, his presence here was about to cause a lot of problems. I think, Haewon said carefully, we need to inform the High Council about this immediately. This changes everything. The High Council chamber was built from white stone that seemed to glow in the light. Da-eun sat at the center of the curved table, her face serious as she listened to Jiwoo's report. Around her, other council members whispered to each other in shock. Let me understand this correctly, Da-eun said slowly. You found a male. A living, breathing male from another world, and he is currently in our medical facility. Yes, High Counselor, Jiwoo confirmed. His ship crashed 3 days ago. He is recovering well from his injuries. Soo-jin, the military general, stood up quickly, her chair scraped against the floor. This could be a trick. How do we know this alien is not dangerous? He is a soldier. His ship is military. He could be scouting our planet for invasion. The ship was badly damaged, Jiwoo replied. Our analysis shows it was an accident. There is no sign of weapons or hostile intent. Still, Soo-jin continued, we must be careful. We know nothing about males or their behavior. The ancient texts warn us about the chaos before the Great Plague. Da-eun raised her hand for silence. We will not make decisions based on fear or ancient prejudices. Jiwoo, you say the scientists want to study this human? Yes, High Counselor. Haewon and Bomi believe we can learn much from him. about males, about his species, about the biology we lost 3,000 years ago. Then let them study him, Daun decided. But under controlled conditions. Sujin, station guards at the facility. If this Taeho shows any sign of danger, contain him immediately. Ji-woo, you will be our liaison. Learn everything you can about him and his people. Back at the medical facility, Taeho sat in a chair while Bomi ran another scan. He had been poked, measured, and analyzed for hours. His patience was wearing thin, but he understood their curiosity. Your muscle density is 40% higher than ours, Bomi said, her voice full of wonder. Your bone structure is thicker. Your cardiovascular system is more robust. How is this possible? Sexual dimorphism, Taeho explained, trying to use simple words. On Earth, males and females evolved differently. Males generally have more muscle mass and physical strength. Females have other advantages. It's natural for us. Bomi wrote down everything he said. And you said humans reproduce through mating? Physical combination of genetic material from male and female? Taeho felt his face grow warm. This was awkward. Yes. It's a natural biological process. Male and female come together, and genetic material combines to create offspring. Children have traits from both parents. The scientists in the room looked at each other in amazement. Hae-won spoke next. Our cloning method creates exact copies. Each new person is identical to her parent. Your method creates unique individuals every time? Exactly, Taeho said. That's why humans are so diverse. Every person is different. Fascinating, Hae-won murmured. Genetic diversity through natural reproduction. Our method is efficient, but it lacks variation. Perhaps that is why our civilization has stagnated in some ways. Yuna entered the room carrying a tray of food. She had volunteered to help care for Taeho. Unlike some of the older scientists, she felt no fear around him. To her, he was just an interesting stranger. I brought you food, she said, setting the tray down. I'm not sure what your species eats, so I brought several options. Taeho smiled at her kindness. Thank you, Yuna. I appreciate it. He looked at the food. Some of it looked familiar. Some completely alien. He picked up something that resembled bread and took a bite. It tasted sweet and nutty. This is good. You can smile, Yuna observed. And your voice is deeper than ours. Is that normal for males? Yes, on average, human males have deeper voices. It's related to hormones and vocal cord structure. Yuna sat down across from him, fascinated. What's it like having males and females together in your society? Do they fight? The old texts say males were aggressive and caused conflicts. Taeho thought carefully about his answer. Humans can be aggressive, male or female. But we're also cooperative. We work together. Men and women are partners in building our civilization. Yes, we have conflicts sometimes, but that's true of any society. Gender isn't the cause of war or peace. Individuals make those choices. Ji-woo entered the room and heard his last words. That's a wise perspective, she said. I wonder if our ancestors understood that. Before the plague took the males away. You said your males died from a disease? Taeho asked. What happened? Hae-won pulled up historical files on a screen. 3,000 years ago, a genetic plague spread through our population. It only affected males. Within 50 years, they were all gone. Our scientists worked desperately to save them, but failed. That's when we developed cloning technology to survive as a species. I'm sorry, Taeho said quietly. That must have been a terrible time. It was before our time, Ji-woo said. But the memory lives on in our culture. Some see it as liberation. Others see it as loss. Most don't think about it at all. Males are just ancient history to us. Until now, Bomi added. Your presence is forcing us to reconsider everything. Over the next week, Taeho spent hours talking with the scientists in Jiwoo. He told them about Earth, about human history, about technology and culture. In return, he learned about Valorian society. He discovered that their civilization was peaceful but static. Without genetic diversity, new ideas came slowly. Art and culture had changed little in centuries. Technology advanced, but carefully and conservatively. One afternoon, while working with Rin the engineer to repair his emergency beacon, Taeho demonstrated some Earth engineering techniques. Rin watched in surprise as he solved a problem she had been struggling with for hours. "You think differently," she said. "Your approach is more direct, more bold." "Maybe that's the male perspective," Taeho suggested. "Or maybe it's just my training. It's hard to know what comes from gender and what comes from individual personality." News of Taeho's presence was spreading beyond the research outpost. The High Council had tried to keep it secret, but secrets never lasted long. People whispered about the male alien. Some were curious, others were afraid. Minji, the civilization's chief historian, came to the facility with ancient documents. She spread them on a table in front of Taeho, Jiwoo, and the scientists. "I've been researching since I heard about you," Minji said. "These texts describe male Valorians before the plague. Look at this passage." She pointed to old writing on a digital display. It says males and females lived together in harmony. They had different roles but equal value. The males were not monsters or oppressors. "Then why do some people fear me?" Taeho asked. "Because fear is easy," Minji replied. After the plague, some leaders blamed males for the diseases. They said it was nature's way of correcting a mistake. That ideology became part of our culture. Many believe we are better off without males. Jiwoo frowned. "But that's not scientific. That's prejudice." "Yes," Minji agreed. "But prejudice is powerful. Taeho, I must warn you. There are groups who will not welcome you here. They believe your presence threatens our way of life." That night, Taeho stood by the window of his room, looking at the stars. They were unfamiliar. He didn't recognize any constellations. Earth was somewhere out there, but he had no idea which direction. He was alone, completely alone, the only male on an entire planet, and his presence was causing fear and division among people who had saved his life. Jiwoo found him there, lost in thought. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm just wondering if I should activate my emergency beacon," Taeho said. "Call for rescue and leave. I don't want to cause problems for your people." "Would you really leave?" Jiwoo asked. "Before understanding what your presence means? You represent something we thought was lost forever. Maybe you're here for a reason." "Jiwoo, I don't believe in fate," Taeho said. "Neither do I," Jiwoo replied. "But I believe in opportunity. You have knowledge we need. We have knowledge you might need someday. Maybe humans and Valorians can help each other." Before Taeho could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed. Through the window, they saw smoke rising from one of the research buildings. Sujin's voice came over the communication system. "Security alert. Explosion in the data storage facility. All personnel evacuate to safety zones." Jiwoo and Taeho ran into the hallway. Scientists were rushing past in panic. Haewon appeared, her face pale. "The biological data," she gasped. "All our research on Taeho, someone destroyed it. This wasn't an accident. This was an attack. The smoke cleared by morning, but the damage was done. The data storage facility was destroyed. Years of research were gone. More importantly, someone had deliberately targeted the building that held all information about Taeho." Jae-won, the security chief, stood in the burned room with Jiwoo and Sujin. Her face was grim as she examined the evidence. "This was a bomb," Jae-won said. "Small but effective. Someone knew exactly where to place it for maximum damage. This person had access to the facility." "An inside job?" Jiwoo asked in disbelief. "One of our own people did this?" "We're checking security recordings," Jae-won replied. "But whoever did this knew how to avoid cameras." We found a message painted on the wall outside. She showed them a photo. The words read, "Males bring chaos." Sujin crossed her arms. I warned the council. This alien's presence is dividing our people. Now, we have violence. The violence comes from fear, Jiwoo argued, not from Taeho. He's done nothing wrong. His existence is wrong to some people. Sujin shot back. And I must prioritize the safety of our citizens. At the same time, news of Taeho had spread across the entire planet. The High Council had finally made an official announcement. A male from another world was alive and living among them. The reaction was explosive. Eunha, a social psychologist, studied the public response from her office. She created graphs and charts showing how the population was dividing. Roughly 40% were fascinated and wanted to learn more. 30% were afraid and wanted Taeho removed. 30% didn't care either way. But the fearful minority was loud. They organized quickly. A leader emerged. A woman named Hee-Rin who had lost her family to an industrial accident years ago. She blamed stagnant thinking and old ways. Now she saw Taeho as a symbol of the dangerous past. We evolved beyond males, Hee-Rin said in public broadcasts. We built a peaceful society without them. Now we're letting one back in? This is madness. The ancient chaos will return. She called her group the Pure Guard. Their message was simple. Protect Valorian purity by removing the alien male. At first, they just held protests. Then came the bombing. Taeho watched the news reports with growing guilt. He sat with Yuna and Arin in the facility's common room. This is my fault, Taeho said quietly. People are fighting because of me. No, Yuna said firmly. People are fighting because they're afraid of change. That's not your fault. Yuna's right, Arin agreed. I've been working with you on your ship repairs. You're patient and kind. You teach me things without making me feel stupid. You're not the monster Hee-Rin claims you are, but I represent something they fear, Taeho said. Maybe I should just leave and prove them right? Yuna challenged. Show them that males run away when things get difficult? No. Stay and prove them wrong. Jiwoo entered the room with Min-ji, who was carrying several old data tablets. The historian looked excited despite the tense situation. I found something important, Min-ji announced. She activated one of the tablets, showing ancient text and images. These are personal journals from before the plague, written by males and females living together. Listen to this entry. She read aloud. Today, Kibyom and I worked together on the new water system. His engineering ideas, combined with my biological knowledge, created something neither of us could have done alone. This is the beauty of our dual nature. Different perspectives creating better solutions. Min-ji looked up. There are hundreds of entries like this. Males weren't oppressors or chaos bringers. They were partners. Equals. The propaganda that says otherwise came after the plague, created by leaders who wanted to make the loss feel like progress instead of tragedy. Can you publish this? Taeho asked. I'm already preparing the data, Min-ji said. But it won't convince everyone. Hee-Rin and her followers don't care about history. They care about fear. Over the following weeks, Taeho tried to live as normally as possible while the planet debated his existence. He helped Arin with engineering projects. He taught Bomi about human medicine. He trained with Yuna in the facility's gym, showing her earth combat techniques. That last activity drew criticism. Some people saw broadcasts of a male teaching fighting skills and became more afraid. But others saw something different. They saw Yuna laughing as she learned. They saw mutual respect between teacher and student. They saw cooperation. Da-eun visited the facility personally to meet Taeho. She sat across from him in a private room, studying him carefully. You've caused quite a disruption in our society, she said. I didn't mean to, Taeho replied honestly. I was just trying to survive. I know. That's what makes this interesting. You're not trying to conquer or change us. You're just existing. And your existence challenges 3,000 years of assumptions. Da-eun paused. Tell me honestly, do you think we're missing something? By not having males? Taeho considered carefully. I think you're missing diversity. Not just male versus female, but the diversity that comes from natural reproduction. Every human is unique because we combine genes from two parents. Your cloning creates brilliant scientists and artists, but they all think similarly because they share genetic patterns. Maybe that's why new ideas come slowly here. And you think males would fix this? No, Taeho said. I think genetic diversity would help. Males are just one part of that. But honestly, I don't know if resurrecting male Valorians is even possible after 3,000 years. That's not my expertise. Da-un nodded slowly. I appreciate your honesty. Too many people claim to have all the answers. You admit your limitations. I'm just a combat engineer, Taeho said. I fix ships and solve mechanical problems. I'm not a geneticist or a philosopher. Sometimes simple wisdom is the most valuable, Da-un replied, but not everyone valued wisdom. Heirin's movement grew stronger each day. They held rallies in major cities. They published articles warning of male danger. They claimed Taeho was manipulating the scientists and guards around him. Na Young, a former High Council member, joined the Pure Guard. She gave them credibility and political connections. Together, she and Heirin planned something bigger than protests and small bombings. One night, Taeho couldn't sleep. He walked through the facility's garden, looking at alien plants under two moons. Jiwoo found him there. You walk like a soldier, she observed. Always alert, even when relaxing. Old habits, Taeho said. 20 years of military training doesn't go away. They sat on a bench together. For a while, neither spoke. Then Jiwoo asked, Do you miss Earth? Zaire once from Tonner. Do you miss Earth? Every day, Taeho admitted. I miss my crew. My friends. Food that tastes familiar. Skies that are blue instead of purple. But, Jiwoo prompted, but I've found something here too. Friendship, purpose. You and Yuna and the others have been kind to me. You didn't have to be. I'm grateful. We're not all kind, Jiwoo said. Heirin and her followers want you gone. Or worse. I know. I've been thinking about activating my beacon. My fleet might receive it. They could rescue me. Jiwoo felt something twist in her chest. Sadness? She had only known Taeho for a few weeks. But the thought of him leaving hurt. Is that what you want? I want to stop causing problems for your people, Taeho said. But Yuna told me that running away would prove Heirin right. That males are weak or dangerous. I don't want to prove her right. Then stay, Jiwoo said. Fight with us, not against us. Show everyone what you really are. Before Taeho could answer, an alarm sounded, different from the building alarms. This was a planetary alert. Jae-won's voice came over all communication devices. Security alert. Armed group approaching the research facility. All personnel prepare for lockdown. Military forces en route. Through the garden fence, Taeho and Jiwoo saw lights in the distance. Vehicles approaching. Many of them. It's them, Jiwoo said, her hand moving to her weapon. The Pure Guard. They're coming for you. Taeho stood up, his training kicking in. How many guards do we have here? 20. Maybe 30, if the off-duty ones respond quickly. And out there? Jiwoo checked her communication device. Reports say over 100. They're armed. Taeho. This is a small war. Then we need to prepare. Get everyone to the secure areas. Protect the civilians first. You're not trained for our weapons, Jiwoo said. Taeho smiled grimly. I'm trained for combat. Weapons are just tools. Show me what you have, and I'll adapt. They ran inside together. The facility transformed into a fortress. Guards took positions. Scientists and researchers moved to reinforced rooms. Yuna appeared in combat gear, looking scared but determined. I'm fighting with you, she announced. No, Jiwoo started to say. Yes, Yuna interrupted. This is my facility too. These are my friends. I'm not hiding. Outside, the vehicles stopped. Figures emerged, carrying weapons and shields. At the front stood He Rin and Na Young. Between them, they held a banner reading, "Purity through Strength." Hiren's voice boomed over a loudspeaker. "Send out the alien male. Send him out. And we will leave peacefully. Keep him. And we will take him by force. You have 10 minutes to decide." Inside, Taeho looked at Jiwoo, Yuna, and the other guards. "I'll go out. End this peacefully." "Absolutely not," Jiwoo said. "They'll kill you. Maybe. But maybe that's better than people dying to protect me." "No," Yuna said. "We're not giving up. We're not giving in to fear." The 10 minutes ticked away. Outside, Heirin counted down. When time expired, she gave the order. "Take the facility. Capture the male. Tonight, we save our civilization from the chaos of the past." The attack began. The first energy blast hit the facility's outer wall, leaving a black scorch mark. More blasts followed, lighting up the night like lightning. The Pure Guard had come prepared with military-grade weapons, likely stolen or bought from corrupt suppliers. Jiwoo coordinated the defense from the command center. Her guards returned fire carefully, trying not to cause lethal injuries. They wanted to stop the attack, not start a massacre. Taeho moved through the facility with Yuna, helping evacuate scientists to the reinforced center building. He carried equipment and guided frightened researchers through the chaos. One elderly scientist froze in fear as explosions shook the walls. "I can't move," she whispered. "I can't." Taeho knelt beside her, his voice calm. "Yes, you can. Look at me. Breathe. Now stand up. I've got you." He helped her to her feet and guided her to safety. Yuna watched in amazement. Here was a male, supposedly the bringer of chaos, gently helping an old woman while bombs exploded around them. The Pure Guard broke through the outer fence. He Rin led the charge, her face twisted with determination. "Find the alien. Take him alive if possible, but dead if necessary." J1 and her security team formed a defensive line at the main building's entrance. Energy shields shimmered in front of them, absorbing the incoming fire. But they were outnumbered. The attackers kept coming. "We can't hold this position forever," J1 said into her communicator. "Where are the military reinforcements?" 20 minutes out, came Sujin's voice. "Hold your ground. 20 minutes might as well be 20 hours. The shields were already weakening under sustained fire." The Pure Guard brought up heavier weapons, preparing to blast through the doors. Taeho finished evacuating the last scientist and returned to the command center where Jiwoo was coordinating the defense. He looked at the tactical display, his military training analyzing the situation instantly. "They're concentrating their forces at the main entrance," he said. "Classic assault pattern. But look, their flanks are weak. If we could surprise them from the side." "We don't have enough people for a counterattack," Jiwoo replied. "You don't need many, just enough to create confusion. Make them think you have more forces than you do." Taeho traced a path on the map. "This maintenance corridor leads outside, past their line. A small team could hit them from an unexpected angle." Jiwoo studied the plan. It was risky, but staying defensive wasn't working either. "I'll lead the team." "No," Taeho said. "I'll go. If they see me, they'll focus all attention on me. That gives you an advantage. You want to use yourself as bait? I want to use myself as a weapon. There's a difference." Yuna stepped forward. "I'm going with him." "Yuna, no," Jiwoo started. "Commander, I'm going." "That's final." Taeho picked up a Valorian energy rifle. He checked the power cell, tested the weight, adjusted the sights. The weapon was lighter than Earth rifles, but the principle was the same. Point and shoot. He could work with this. 3 guards volunteered to join them. 5 people total for a desperate flanking maneuver. Not ideal, but better than nothing. They moved through the maintenance corridor, stepping over broken pipes and past damaged equipment. The sounds of battle echoed through the walls. Explosions. Shouting. energy weapons firing in rapid succession. They emerged outside. Behind the Pure Guard's position, Taeho counted approximately 30 attackers in this section, focused entirely on the main entrance. "Perfect. On my signal," Taeho whispered. "Aim for their weapons and equipment, not their bodies. We're trying to stop them, not kill them." Yuna nodded. The guards took position. Taeho raised his rifle and fired. The shot hit a weapons crate, causing it to explode in a shower of sparks. The Pure Guard members spun around in confusion. Who was shooting from behind them? More shots followed. Precise and controlled. Weapons flew from hands, equipment exploded, shields overloaded. "It's the alien," someone shouted. "He's armed." The Pure Guard split their forces. Half stayed focused on the main entrance. Half turned to face this new threat. Exactly what Taeho wanted. Divide and confuse. He moved like water, never staying in one place. His military training kicked in fully. He was no longer a lost engineer trying to survive. He was a soldier, doing what he was trained to do, protect his people. These were his people now, he realized. Jiwoo, Yuna, Haewon, Bo-mi, all the scientists who had shown him kindness. He would protect them. Inside the facility, Jiwoo saw the Pure Guard's confusion and seized the opportunity. "All units, advance! Push them back!" The guards surged forward, shields ahead, weapons firing. The Pure Guard found themselves caught between two forces, their formation breaking apart. Rin screamed orders, trying to restore control. "Hold your positions. Don't let them break you." But her forces were volunteers, not trained soldiers. Facing professional guards from one side and unexpected attack from the other, they began to retreat. Na Young grabbed Rin's arm. "We're losing. We need to fall back." "No." Rin pulled away. "We can't fail. Not now." She grabbed a heavy weapon, a plasma launcher that would blow through any shield. She aimed it at the main building where she knew the alien was moments ago. "If I can't capture him, I'll destroy everything he's touched." She fired. The plasma bolt screamed through the air, heading straight for the building's support structure. If it hit, the entire upper floors would collapse. Dozens of people would die. Taeho saw it happening. Time seemed to slow. He calculated trajectory, speed, impact point. He couldn't stop the plasma bolt, but he could change its path. He ran. Yuna screamed his name, but he didn't stop. He reached the bolt's trajectory and activated an energy shield from a fallen guard's equipment. The shield wouldn't stop plasma, but it might deflect it. The bolt hit the shield. Energy exploded in all directions. Taeho felt himself flying backward, heat washing over him. He hit the ground hard, pain shooting through his entire body. The plasma bolt, deflected, sailed over the building and exploded harmlessly in the empty field beyond. "Taeho!" Yuna ran to him. He was alive but badly hurt. Burns covered his arms and chest. His uniform was melted in places. Jiwoo and her guards surrounded them, forming a protective barrier. The Pure Guard, seeing their main weapon fail and their leader's reckless action nearly kill their own people, lost their fighting spirit. They began surrendering, dropping their weapons. Rin stared in disbelief. The male alien had just saved Valorian lives. He had thrown himself in front of a plasma bolt to protect people who weren't even his species. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't what she had been taught to fear. Jaewon approached Rin and Na Young with several guards. "You're under arrest for terrorism, assault, and attempted murder." Rin didn't resist. She looked at Taeho, who was being tended to by Bo-mi and other medical staff who had rushed out. "I was wrong," she said quietly. "Males aren't the problem. Fear is." The military reinforcements finally arrived, but the battle was already over. Sujin surveyed the scene, her expression unreadable. The facility was damaged but standing. Casualties were minimal, mostly minor injuries, and the alien male was being loaded onto a medical transport. Unconscious but stable, Yuna held Taeho's hand as they transported him back to the medical facility. She was crying, which embarrassed her. But she couldn't stop. "You idiot," she whispered. "You didn't have to do that. You could have died," but he had done it. And everyone had seen. The broadcasts had been running during the entire battle. The whole planet watched as a male, the supposed harbinger of chaos, sacrificed himself to save others. In homes across Valoria, people sat in silence, processing what they had witnessed. The narrative was broken. The fear was cracking. Maybe, just maybe, they had been wrong about males. In the High Council chamber, Daun made a decision. She activated the planetary broadcast system, her face appearing on every screen. "Citizens of Valoria," she began, "tonight, you witnessed something unprecedented. A male from another world put himself in danger to save our people. He fought not for conquest, but for protection. He proved that males are not inherently chaos or violence. They are individuals, capable of courage and kindness." She paused, letting her words sink in. "For 3,000 years, we have told ourselves stories about males. Some of those stories were true. Some were propaganda born from grief. Tonight, we learned the truth. Males and females are not enemies. They are partners in the great story of life." In the medical facility, Teho dreamed of Earth. He dreamed of his crew, his friends, his home. But he also dreamed of purple skies and alien faces that had become dear to him. He dreamed of a choice he would have to make soon. Stay or go, Earth or Valoria, his old life or this new one. When he woke up 3 days later, Ji-woo was sitting beside his bed. She smiled when she saw his eyes open. "Welcome back," she said. "You scared us." "Did it work?" Teho asked, his voice rough. "The deflection? Yes. You saved 42 lives. The entire research staff was in that building." Ji-woo took his hand. "You're a hero, Teho. To all of us. I just did what anyone would do." "No. You did what a good person would do. Male or female doesn't matter. Character matters." Through the window, Teho could see the purple sky. Somewhere up there, his ship's beacon was probably active, calling to his fleet. They would come eventually. He would have to choose. But for now, he was content to rest and heal, surrounded by friends he had found in the most unlikely place. 2 weeks after the battle, Teho was well enough to walk without help. His burns had healed thanks to Valorian medical technology, though some scars remained. Bomi said the scars made him look distinguished. Yuna said they made him look like a proper warrior. Teho just hoped they would fade eventually. The facility had been repaired. New security measures were in place. But the biggest change wasn't physical. It was social. People approached Teho differently now, not with fear, but with respect. Some with curiosity. A few still kept their distance, but the open hostility was gone. Minji published her research about ancient male-female partnerships. Her documents spread across the planet like fire. People read the old journals and letters. They saw their ancestors working together, loving each other, building civilization side by side. The propaganda that painted males as dangerous was revealed for what it was. Grief and fear twisted into ideology. Hairin and Na Young faced trial. They expected harsh punishment, but Da-un surprised everyone. Instead of prison, they were sentenced to education and community service. They would spend 3 years studying history and working to rebuild what they had damaged. Punishment alone doesn't heal society, Da-un explained. Understanding does. Hairin accepted her sentence with quiet dignity. Before she left for her service assignment, she asked to speak with Teho. They met in a secured conference room, guards watching from a distance. "I wanted to apologize," Hairin said. She looked tired, older than her years. "I was afraid of change. I convinced myself that fear was wisdom. I'm sorry." Quote, "Apology accepted," Teho said simply. "You could have died because of me. Why aren't you angry?" Teho thought about it. "I am angry, but I understand fear. I've been afraid too. Fear makes people do things they regret. The important thing is learning from it. Hyrin nodded slowly. You're wiser than I gave you credit for. Males and wisdom. I never thought those words would go together in my mind. But here we are. After she left, Ji-woo joined Tae-ho. They walked through the facility's garden, which had been damaged during the battle, but was being restored. New plants were growing through the scorched earth. The High Council wants to meet with you tomorrow, Ji-woo said. Official meeting. They're making important decisions about the future. What kind of decisions? About you, about us, about what happens next. The next day, Tae-ho stood before the full High Council in their grand chamber. Da-yoon sat at the center, flanked by other council members. Soo-jin was there, her expression neutral. The military general had changed her opinion of Tae-ho after seeing him fight to protect others. Tae-ho of Earth, Da-yoon began formally. You came to our world by accident. You could have left at any time. You chose to stay. You chose to help us, even at great risk to yourself. For this, you have our gratitude. I just did what was right, Tae-ho replied. Exactly. And in doing so, you changed our entire civilization. We have spent weeks debating what your presence means for us. Today, we have reached a decision. Da-yoon activated a holographic display. It showed complex genetic data and scientific projections. Our scientists, led by Haewon and Bomi, have been studying the ancient plague that killed our males. They believe they can reverse it. Not tomorrow, not next year, but eventually. It would take decades of research. Genetic engineering, careful trials, but it's possible. Murmurs went through the council chamber. This was bigger news than Tae-ho expected. We are not rushing into this, Da-yoon continued. This is a choice our people must make collectively. Should we try to resurrect male Valorians? Should we embrace genetic diversity again? Or should we continue as we are? What do you think? Tae-ho asked. I think, Da-yoon said carefully, that stagnation is death. We have been the same for 3,000 years. Safe, yes. Stable, yes. But unchanging. You represent change. Possibility. Growth. I think we need that. Another council member spoke up. But we also need caution. We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. If we bring males back, we must do it carefully. With wisdom. Agreed. Da-yoon said. That is why we are proposing something unprecedented. We want to establish formal relations with Earth. Exchange knowledge. Learn from a civilization where males and females live together successfully. And we want you, Tae-ho, to be our first ambassador. Tae-ho felt his heart race. Ambassador? I'm just a soldier. You're more than that now, Ji-woo said from where she stood nearby. You're a bridge between our worlds. We understand this is a huge responsibility, Da-yoon added. We would not ask if we didn't believe you were capable. But we also understand, if you want to go home, you have sacrificed enough for us. Tae-ho stood silent for a moment, thinking, home, Earth, his crew, everything familiar, but also here, Valoria, Ji-woo, Yuna, Haewon, all the people who had become his friends. The purple sky he had grown to love, the chance to help shape the future. I need to contact my fleet, he said finally. Let them know I'm alive, talk to my commanders, but if they approve, yes, I'll be your ambassador. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members were excited, others worried, but Da-yoon smiled. Then it is decided. We will help you contact your people. And we will begin our new future together. That night, Tae-ho activated his repaired emergency beacon. It would take time for the signal to reach his fleet. But he knew they were searching. Sure enough, 3 days later, he received a response. His commanding officer's face appeared on the screen, relief evident. Tae-ho, we thought you were dead. Where are you? Tae-ho explained everything. The crash, the Valorians, the all-female civilization, the attack. his new role as ambassador. His commander listened with growing amazement. "This is unprecedented," the commander said. "First contact with a new species. And they want diplomatic relations?" "Yes, sir. I believe this is an opportunity we shouldn't miss. The Valorians have advanced technology in some areas we lack, and we have knowledge they need. It could benefit both civilizations. I'll need to discuss this with the Admiralty." "But Tejo, this could be the most important discovery in human history." "Stand by." It took a week of negotiations, but eventually, Earth's government agreed. They would send a small diplomatic ship to Valoria. Tejo would facilitate first contact. A new chapter in human-alien relations would begin. While waiting for Earth's ship to arrive, Tejo spent his time teaching and learning. He worked with Arin on engineering projects, combining Earth and Valorian technology to create new innovations. He trained with Yuna, sharing combat techniques while learning Valorian martial arts. He helped Bomi and Haewon with their research into the ancient plague. One evening, he sat with Jiwoo on a hill overlooking the research facility. Two moons hung in the purple sky, casting silver light across the landscape. "Are you nervous about your people arriving?" Jiwoo asked. "Yes," Tejo admitted. "I'm nervous about everything. What if this doesn't work? What if bringing our civilizations together causes problems?" "It might," Jiwoo said honestly. "All first contacts have challenges. But look what you've already done here. You changed minds. You showed us that our fears were wrong. If you can do that, you can handle whatever comes next. I couldn't have done it alone. You helped me, defended me, believed in me when your own people didn't, because I saw who you really were," Jiwoo said. She looked at him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "Friendship. Yes. But something more? You're a good person, Tejo. Male, female, human, Valorian. None of that matters. Character matters. You sound like me now," Tejo said with a smile. "Maybe you've been a good influence." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Somewhere up there, Earth's ship was traveling toward them. In a few weeks, everything would change again. But Tejo felt ready. When Earth's diplomatic ship finally arrived, Tejo was there to greet it. The ship landed in a cleared field near the research facility. Ramps extended, human soldiers and diplomats emerged, staring at the purple sky and alien landscape with wonder. The lead diplomat, Ambassador Park, approached Tejo and saluted. "Engineer Tejo, I've read your reports. This is extraordinary. Welcome to Valoria," Tejo replied. "Let me introduce you to my friends." Tejo, Jiwoo stepped forward. She had been chosen as Valoria's representative for this historic meeting. She wore formal robes of office, her expression calm and professional. "I am Jiwoo, Patrol Commander and appointed liaison to Earth. On behalf of the High Council and all Valorians, welcome to our world." Ambassador Park bowed respectfully. "On behalf of Earth and humanity, we thank you for your hospitality. We hope this is the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples." The two diplomats shook hands. Human and alien, male and female. Two species from different worlds, meeting in peace and hope. Cameras recorded everything. Back on Earth and across Valoria, billions watched this historic moment. Children would learn about this in schools for generations to come. The day humans and Valorians became friends, the following weeks were filled with meetings, tours, exchanges of knowledge. Human scientists marveled at Valorian cloning technology. Valorian researchers were amazed by human genetic diversity. Both sides learned from each other, combining knowledge to create new possibilities. Yuna got her wish. She was selected for the first exchange program. She would travel to Earth, see new worlds, and learn from human warriors. She was terrified and excited in equal measure. "Take care of yourself," Tejo told her before she left. "Earth is different from here. Louder, more chaotic, but amazing." "I'll be fine," Yuna said. trying to sound confident. You survived, Valoria. I can survive Earth. You'll do more than survive. You'll thrive. She hugged him, which surprised him. Valorians weren't typically physically affectionate, but Yuna had learned from watching humans. Thank you for everything, Teho. You changed my life. You changed mine too. As Yuna's ship departed for Earth, carrying the first group of Valorian exchange students, another ship arrived. This one brought human scientists, engineers, and more diplomats. The exchange was truly beginning. Months passed. Then a year. The research facility expanded to accommodate both species. A true embassy was built, flying flags of both Earth and Valoria. Teho served as the bridge between worlds, translating not just language but culture and understanding. Jiwoo worked beside him every day. Their friendship deepened into something neither of them could quite name but both valued deeply. They were pioneers together, building something new. One day, Bomi made an announcement that shook both worlds. We've done it. The genetic reversal therapy is complete. We can restore male Valorians. The High Council called an emergency meeting. Citizens across the planet voted on the question. Should they proceed? Should they bring males back after 3,000 years? The debate was intense. But in the end, 68% voted yes. They would move forward. Carefully. Slowly. But they would try to restore the balance they had lost. The first male Valorian was born a year later. A small, perfect child with the same blue-tinted skin as his mother's. 2 volunteers had agreed to carry the genetically restored embryo. When he opened his eyes for the first time, the whole planet held its breath. Teho was invited to see the child. He stood in the medical facility, looking at the baby through a protective window. This small being represented hope, possibility, a future that combined old and new. What will you name him? Teho asked. The mother smiled. We will call him Teho, after the one who showed us that males are not to be feared, but celebrated. Teho felt tears in his eyes. He, who had crashed on an alien world by accident, had changed the course of an entire civilization. Not through conquest or force, but through simple decency and courage. Jiwoo found him later, staring out at the stars. Earth's sun was visible tonight, just a bright point among millions. Thinking about home? She asked. Always, Teho admitted. But I'm also thinking that maybe I have 2 homes now. Would you ever go back? To Earth? Permanently? Maybe someday. But not yet. There's too much work to do here. Too much potential to explore. He looked at her. And too much I would miss. Jiwoo smiled. The council is offering you permanent residency. Citizenship. If you want it. You could belong to both worlds officially. I'd like that. They stood together, watching the stars. Human and Valorian, male and female, 2 individuals from different species, united by friendship and shared purpose. Above them, ships moved between Earth and Valoria, carrying people, ideas, and dreams. Below them, a civilization that had been stagnant for 3 millennia was blooming with new life and possibilities. Teho had crashed on an alien world as a lost soldier. He had become a teacher, a warrior, an ambassador, and a friend. He had changed a civilization and been changed by it in return. The future was uncertain, challenges remained. But for the first time in 3,000 years, the Valorians faced that future with hope and diversity. And for the first time in his life, Teho felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. The story of the human soldier and the alien girls who had been shocked by their first encounter with a male had become a story of friendship, growth, and the power of understanding to overcome fear. It was, in the end, a story about how difference makes us stronger, and how one person, through simple courage and kindness, can change the galaxy.